Got something on my mouth. Um, whew, okay, I'm just yakking for nothing. So welcome everybody to today's live sewing chat. I'm T of Teaquilts, and today is Saturday, November 19th, 2022. It's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have a live 2-hour sewing chat. Sorry about the mic earlier. Thank you, Betsy, for letting me know. I'm just a yakking. My mic was on the charger, just totally forgot to, put it on. So let me pull up chat here and then I'll chat about what's in front of me. Let's see. I always have to search for mine. All right, so we got it pulled up. I'm actually using, I don't know why I'm using my regular phone instead of the phone that's in here for that, but that's what I'm doing right now. We're going to pause that. All right, so as you all can see, my Bernina is back, and my machine was supposed to be gone for a week. I had my machine picked up on Tuesday, and he brought it back to me on Thursday. He happened to be in the area, said that he wasn't quite as far north as I am, but he was close and my machines were ready. So he decided if I was available or anybody home to get it, that he would drop my machines off. I was not at home. I actually had another appointment where I was out, but my husband actually got the machines. I just wrote him a check and told my husband to just give him the check. So I am so happy that my machine is back. I have not sewed a stitch on it. Matter of fact, it just got put in position. That's one of the reasons I was a couple seconds getting in here late. So I am so excited to have the machine back. Not having to do anything on another machine right now. I am sewing on my Fall Expressions. I have taken my brother out for just a minute. And I do like sewing on it. It actually is going to be my transport machine because it's light and it actually has a very good stitch. It just doesn't like sewing over 4 layers of batting and 4 layers of fabric. Okay, it wasn't made for that. But other than that, and the fact that it doesn't have a knee lift, I actually love the Fall Quilt Expressions, and I can't fault it for not having a knee lift. It's just something that I personally like to have. Um, I actually use it. Somebody else, it wouldn't matter at all that it doesn't have a knee lift. So we've got Denise, Soul Patch 33 here, saying hello to everyone, and Miss T. Liz Wilson here says a cold day in Michigan, 22 degrees. Cynthia says, T, see you again. You and Kevin are funny. Girl, me and Kevin just don't know how to behave when we're together. It's ridiculous. Like so, like that says hello to all. And while that is cold, I pray y'all are staying warm. It's freezing here. Let me see if I can find our temperature. It was 33 when I left, 33 degrees, I think, when I left Kevin's house. And it was cold because it was very, very windy. And you could feel the chill in it, like it was coming off some water from somewhere. So, yeah, it's cold. Now it's 28 degrees at 8 p.m. So, cold is not playing. And it's going to get colder than that overnight. Hey, Darcy Savali, Ella Odom, C Joy Creations, Zandra Odom, Francis Jackson, Mona did what? Thank you, Darcy, reminding people to give me a thumbs up. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. I also have a Facebook channel called Teaquilts LLC. Make sure you answer the 3 questions. It just gets you in there a lot quicker, if at all. I just want to make sure that I'm not getting any spammers into the group. I like to keep the group on the same friendly pace that we have already. Bernina Nance is here. See, Joy is also saying about the thumbs up. Craft with Love is here, saying it's chilly where she is. Sue says, hey, T and fellow quilters, I would like to thank you and Kevin for this afternoon. I really needed to see your smiling faces. Well, thank you, ma'am. I do have Kevin's thing right here. This is what had happened. I have about 4 of those Aldi's containers. One of them has fabric in it that needs to be wrapped because I ran out of boards when I was wrapping all the stuff that I got off of the Missouri shop hop. I then had the other 3 where I was using them to put stuff in for each place I go to. My guild meetings, my scrap quilting club, and then Kevin's house. Well, some kind of way I mixed up Kevin's stuff with the scrap quilting club stuff and didn't realize it. And so everything that I was supposed to give to him was in another container. So I have, I'll see him at scrap club. It was in the scrap club container for some reason. I have no idea why I didn't remember. Well, at first we weren't thinking we were going to have today's sew along. So I guess that's why I put it in there, because it's not like it's a group event where I need a container just for it. So I actually put it in the Scrap Quilting Club container, which meets next week. Then when we decided to go ahead and meet, which was actually on Friday, I forgot all about it Friday night to take it out of the other container. So sorry about that, Sue, that I forgot. Margaret Dearden is here saying, hello, everyone. Glad you made it home safely. Yes. I still have not had any sleep. I just ate some pizza. My husband put pizza in the oven. I ate some pizza and I just rested. And as soon as I'd say about 7:15 is when my body had the nerve to try to fall asleep. I'm like, if I had fallen asleep for that, and I wasn't ready. I hadn't ironed my fabric pieces that I needed to. And if my body would have done that, we would not be having a live tonight. It would have been a mess. So Tom Whittick Eckery says, hey, T and all T quilters, twice in one day. Yahoo! Hit that thumbs up button for Miss T. Thank you, Tom. Welcome back. Vivian Cavey saying hi, T and everyone. Sue says, I put the rent before I came in. She says she paid the rent before she came in the door. So that's nice. Judy is here. Diane 57 is here. Saying hi to everybody. Remo JS says, good evening, Miss T and quilters. Thumbs up. 21 thumbs up and 57 watching. Show your love and support to our educator. Sandy Agger is here saying, good evening, all. Denise says, I missed you and Kevin today. We'll have to watch the replay. Dorothy says, right now she's at 8:07. She's at 11 degrees. Girl, I don't know. I think what happened is we didn't really gradually get cold. It just went from one. It's like in the Midwest, we don't get fall very long and we don't get spring very long. And then when the temperatures change like that so fast, I think our body hasn't adjusted yet. But I have been cold ever since I got home, okay? And I'm not normally cold, and I do not have a fan on right now, although I am going to cut it on because I have a feeling once I sit here long enough, it's going to make a difference. I will put it on medium just in case. I'd rather be cold than to be hot. Let's see, who else is here? Sheila Willis is here. Sounds like you're in for a freeze. Vicki Bourne says, good evening, everyone. Melina Montoya. She says, had to get away from, so yeah. Thank you. She's so funny. Sue says, you over there spending money, right? Sue says, you should know that I trust you, T. Yes, I know. I just was trying to explain why I left it, because it's like I sat down and I was mad at myself because I didn't tell him that I had it. I had just told him that I missed bringing his blocks. And then you weren't in there. So then when you finally popped in, I had completely forgot by then. So I was like, you know what? I left it at home. Delia says, hi, T and everyone. And Jason Lewis, hey, y'all. Good evening, Miss T and everyone. Denise Soul Patch 33 is reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up. Kevin the Quilter is here saying, evening, Miss T and all Teaquilters watching from my parents' home tonight. Diane 57 was asking how people are doing. I'm not going to be reading those. Deborah Quilts is here. Hello, T and all fellow quilters. Hey, Deborah. I like Mona did what? I like that handle. Damali J is here. Hello, T and quilters. Did you have Damali, did you have a wrench or something? I don't know. It just looks funny. Dee Dee Hansen here from Michigan. We are snowed in. Yeah, they were talking. My husband was telling me how much snow they were getting in New York. I said I would never go to New York this time of the year. So, yeah, I can't handle that type of cold. Okay. But she's in Michigan. It's just as bad. Well, they off all those Great Lakes up there. Veronica C is back saying, hey, Miss T and all other quilters. Kim Burr saying hi, T and Quilty family. Sherry Willingham. I was telling them earlier today that I got to meet you at Guild and that you joined. So that was really awesome. It was really nice to meet you. So we had a good time at the meeting. I don't know if anybody else did, but our table was a mess. She says, hi, T and fellow quilters. I so enjoyed the Guild meeting, T. You was so personable and everyone was so nice. Looking forward to the next meeting. It was great to meet Kevin and Jason. Yes. And we'll the only thing I hate about Guild meetings is that you really don't have time to get to know people. And that's why most times when you are solo going to a Guild meeting where you know no one, that's why people don't like guilds. And that's because guilds are not the place to meet people. It sounds very strange, okay? You got to remember, most guild meetings, they're actually business meetings and process meetings. We have things that got to happen in set order. We got a president that's running her agenda. She's got her own agenda. And when you come in, you got your own personal agenda, but it doesn't matter to anybody else. I'll talk to you, Sherry, since you're on this side of town, about some other stuff that go on as well that's not on Saturdays. But you got to meet people at Guild breakouts, classes, other meetings that they have that or where people are more talking and getting to know everybody. And the nice thing about the Guild was there were a number of people that came over to the table and introduced themselves and asked who they were before membership had even said who they were. So just they were very welcoming to people. But if you're coming in and people don't get a chance to talk to you because it's so much going on, and then we have like a 15-minute break, and if we have a speaker that's selling something, people are over there trying to buy their stuff because they know they only got 15 minutes. If we are having a raffle drawing, people are over trying to get their raffle tickets because they know they only got so many minutes to hit all of these particular stations doing Guild. So Guild meeting is probably not the best place to meet people, but I'm going to tell you, this is the first time that I saw where they took the time to come over and actually talk to some of the new people. And we even had 2 more guests. I had 5 people. Kevin joined, Jason joined, and Sherry. And then there was 2 other guests that said that they were probably going to be joining. And it was their first time attending. And they had been communicating with somebody on social media. And that's how they came. So it was just amazing. We had 5 visitors for a medium-sized Guild. We're not like super small, but we're not big either. We probably have, I'm just going to guess, I don't know how many members. I'm going to say about 50 to 60 members. We got guilds that have over 200, 300 members. So we're by far not the biggest guild in Missouri. We're just in North County, of St. Louis, and so it's for the people. And then some of those people used to live here, and some of them still come back. Others have switched guilds because they've moved somewhere else. But we used to have 125 members. We were an aging guild, so we had quite a few deaths or quite a few moving into nursing homes, things like that. A lot happened during COVID, and we still don't have back our full membership from COVID either. So, but I have been enjoying the guild meetings lately. I'm just having fun with them. So happy we're back out. So, talking of T, I didn't know you and Kevin was on earlier today. Have to watch the replay later. You know, I put it up there. I made a mistake and didn't put PM. I go back in. I made the change, but for some reason, when it showed as broadcasting, it didn't change the time. But it let me change it behind the scene, but it wouldn't broadcast that it should have been 12 p.m. instead of 12 a.m. is what it put. So that was my mistake for messing it up in the first place. But I did try to correct it. Claudette Bettis is saying hello, everyone. Carrie Richards here as well. And Sue says that big bag of colorful rubber bands. Right. That's exactly what it is. I hope Kevin don't want them. Let me make sure I get through this chat because this chat's rolling today, especially since I was late. She says, I have just a pink waving hand, no wrench. I'll give you a wrench, Damali. If you don't want it, let me know and I'll take it back off. Damali is always supporting my channel. She's always here doing what she can. She needs to have the power if we got something going on to be able to block people off the channel, just like Kim just had to do. Okay, already. Yeah. I just want to make sure that it was fully taken care of. So sorry about that, guys. Janice Miller is here. Hey, Janice. Thank you, Kim. Dolores Phelps came in. Sherry says, hi, team. My phone loading slow, so I just text about the guild. You might have passed it. I missed it. Okay, I did read it. I'm just way behind, girl. Jason Lewis says everyone was so welcoming. Yes. You know, I told you all before, I've told people on this channel before when I've talked about quilt guilds, because we've had this discussion a couple of times about people not feeling welcome at quilt guilds. And I'm trying to give people the benefit of the doubt, but also anytime you go to a place and somebody is not as friendly as you feel they should be, and you still want to do it because that's the one that's closest to your house, it's the only thing you got that's like-minded, they'll warm up eventually. But don't let people run you away from what you want to do. That's the other thing. You stand your ground, whether you go there or not, or you go with some people that you know. It just makes it easier to transition in if you go with somebody that you know. However, I was just surprised at the number of people that took the time to come over and welcome him. And we had another new member about 2 months ago, and they did the same thing with her. So they already put her to work. So that was pretty good. And she says, yes, it was fun. She says, was asked to do a featherweight maintenance demonstration for our guild. So that's cool. I'm going to ask our program people and see who all has featherweights if they'd be interested in that. That'll be interesting. I took the classes, but still no friends. You're not the biggest, but you're the nicest. That's Bernina. You're so sweet. Kevin says, no one better than you, Susie Q. Maureen Job is here, or Job. I don't know if it's Job or Job. Says, hello, everyone. Hi, Maureen, and welcome to the channel. Appreciate that. Helena Marie Carter's here. Elaine Doucette. Hello, all. Wild beast of a snowstorm. COVID positive, but still got a row done on my biscuit quilt listening in. So hope you feel better as well, Elaine. 584 days until the best retreat in the world from Sue. I'm very cautious about joining a guild. And I think Jason was too, but I think Kevin wanted to join, and so he didn't want, of course, you don't ever want to be the only one. But I think that you do have some people that are just really ignorant when it comes to male quilters, and I don't think that happens in my guild. We are a guild that used to have like 3 or 4 to 5 male members at one time. Some of them, one was a couple. They basically came to the guild so that they can get long arming services from people. But that was okay. And then so they stayed for a while, but they did, I don't know if they did work. They probably did a little bit of work just so they can get people to talk to them every meeting. We had some that had moved out of town. And so that's how we lost some of the other male quilters. But at one point, we probably had the most male quilters than any other guild at one point. And it was really nice. Our guild loves it. And Teresa McCormick is back. Hey, Teresa. Glad I made it. Going to get some coffee. All right. All right. Let's open up Kevin's bag of rubber bands, okay? Colorful ones that he's going to add beads to. This actually came in Sue's package with her blocks. I was supposed to give this to Kevin today, and I completely forgot. So I'm going to show Kevin what he would have gotten. And then hopefully I'll remember to put this back into the Teaquilt Scrap Quilting Club container, and he'll get it this Saturday. But Sue heard Kevin saying that he was doing the black and whites prints. It looked like she added this one on the back end. You're not going to be able to see them, but here's the one on the back. So it's all black and whites or white with black prints. So very pretty. I'm not going to disturb it. It's by Bennertex. What's wrapped up here. And says that it's 10 fat quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 10. It all goes in here. So this is a different way that they wrap this one, which is really neat and cool. Just gorgeous. So this is for Kevin. I'll try to make sure I remember to get it to you, sir. Thank you, Sue, for Kevin. I'm sure he'll tell you down in the comment section as well. And I'm going to make sure he gets rubber bands, okay? Sue says we have one male quilter at our guild who is exceptional with applique. Yes, he's an engineer. Yeah, because I mentioned that earlier. I said most time that men quilt, they come from an engineering. I find engineering, building, that type of stuff. Because the person who hired me to do that Harley Treads quilt, when he found out that I could do that type of grid that I showed him, because it's like building a building, he wanted me to do the Harley logo. He said, I bet she could do the Harley logo. Well, I could. He asked me, could you do the Harley logo? I said, yes, I could, but I'm not. You're not going to have me in jail for Harley. Copying their logo. They don't play with their logo. All right. So earlier today, I was working with making flying geese units. So I have everything nice and pressed. So these are my small flying geese. Have those all done. I'm going to put those in here at the bottom so they don't get wrinkled. And then I'm also in the process of making large flying geese. So now I had to press this step. And now I need to put this square on here like this. Since this is a sewing chat, I guess I better sew something. It's almost 30 minutes. And so then I'm going to put this on here and so on the lines this way. And then when I cut these apart, I'll have two flying geese units. So I started with squares on my larger ones because I die cut the smaller ones. I had die cuts that size. I did not have die cuts this size. I don't even think AccuQuilt makes flying geese this big unless you're going to do two half square triangles. And I'm lazy. I try to do everything with the least number of seams possible. So I am doing this the old-fashioned way. I'm going to have to probably move this because I forget that my pieces are big. And so they can't like sit up here because this is going to be going through in the way. So I have to move that. But I do like to pin this in place, especially when they're big. I just pin any of them when I'm doing flying geese using this method. I just put a couple of pins in here. Because it keeps it from moving. And I know it's going to go right through the way it should. Oops. I can use that. It doesn't matter. I'm going to pull them out anyway. So that's what we're working on here today. It's just flying geese. My husband uses black rubber bands to keep his beard looking nice. Remember to thumbs up if you haven't already. That's Darcy. Better do what she says. I'm going to turn my stack of flying geese. On these larger flying geese, I just use strings. So my flying geese, they were straight strings. So my flying geese are going to be going in two different directions, and I'm hoping that it's going to work out okay. I have not planned this to know what it's going to look like, but I have faith I'll figure out something. And Kevin's saying thanks again and again, Susie. So he's telling Susie thanks. So that's nice. Who is WBC? Oh, we got look like Miss Joe Carmel coming in saying, "Hey T Quilters, I'm back for more." Laughing out loud. Hopefully you're at home by now. That's the main thing. Quilts by Carmel. Craft with Love says very nice black and whites. Deborah Holloway came in. I also missed her, so welcome, Deborah. All right, and I think I'm caught up. All right, so I'm just pinning my pieces on, and I'm hoping that these are pretty in the neighborhood because I had cut these squares too big and had to trim them down, and I didn't realize that till after I had already marked my diagonal lines. Some of them I had to go and fix them up a little bit. So hoping that this works out. It's gonna go in anyway, whether it's working out or not. um Jason know he crazy. Telling Joe, talking about he got his quilt, his machine, his Bernina 770 all packed to send to her husband. Too funny. Oh my goodness. Paula S is here. Hey Paula. Saying good evening to you and friends. So we're just pinning in two places just to hold my positions, and then I can just run these through. Or I'll run some through. I don't have to do them all at one time. I'm going to have so much, when I have big pieces like this, they get so heavy and then they start hanging off my desk. I don't have anything on the other side to catch it. um, Joe talking about no. Craft says ex business partner gave me a vintage Western house 1944 sewing machine in mint condition, so I will make it my new quilting machine. So excited about my early Xmas gifts. Now that's nice. That's beautiful. I need to get my sergers out and get those looked at. I got 2 sergers. Something's wrong with the belt mechanism on my Bernina, old Bernina. Really old, but I know how to thread. It was never a problem for me to thread the serger. I guess process stuff. I'm pretty good with process stuff if I'm shown how to do something. And I just remember that kind of stuff. I have not used that machine in years, and I can still know which one I'm supposed to thread first. So, but I need to have them get worked on. Sandy is asking, what is the math for your units T? And this is a pattern. I got it out of a magazine, so I'm not gonna give the measurements. And then this is one of those quilts that you couldn't put it to. Well, you probably could if you could do math. But it's going to be difficult to try to replicate because it's all kinds of different sizes of things that are going to be coming up on this. So all the flying geese, everything else is background fabric. So, and I'm not going to do that. I won't give out the measurements. Just because if it was my pattern, I wouldn't want somebody to give out the measurements. Oh my gosh, Joe still got another half hour at work. Girl, you got long days. Long days. I'm gonna have to buy hubby a sewing machine to learn on. He's on your stuff. You kicking him off. He just needs his own sewing machine anyway if he's interested. So needs its own equipment. What's your opinion on quilting a top where the pieces were serged? I don't think it makes a difference. My only thing, see, the thing with there's times when I want to press my seams open, and if you're serging, you can't do that. However, I haven't serged a quilt top yet. I had planned to do one and never have. It was going to be more of a quilt as you go. But I do know that when you serge the seams, you are actually flattening the seam as well. So it may not be as bulky having half square triangles where they all meet up in the middle. It may not be as bulky if they're serged. So I, if I'm long arm quilting it, I don't have a problem quilting it. I think it's going to be better than not having it serged if a lot of seams are coming together. So I wouldn't. Craft says, yes, Sue, I did a little research on it and it's pretty much like an industrial sewing machine. So that's good. Sorry, Sandy. She says, okay, thanks. I've decided I'm not giving out pattern information when I get this piece and done because I'm working on this as a sewing chat project. And then when I give out pattern information, people tend to jump and go get it done and post what they've done here and there. And so I'm trying not to do that, but I will share the information with you when I'm finished or near finishing. I will share it so you can see where it's at. When are the November 22 blocks due? Third Thursday of the month. That's your goal for every month, whatever date that is. There is no particular date. It's how they fall on the calendar. I said I wasn't going to pin all of these and I'm sew them all at the same time. That doesn't mean I'm going to sew them. I'm going to keep pinning, I guess. I'm reading and talking and a pinning. Oh, her husband's retiring in January. That's nice. Everybody deserves to retire after you've been in the workforce forever. I was in there long enough. I started at age 16 and I got out of the rat race at 50. So, yeah. I started on my birth the day after I turned 16. Okay. And I didn't even fill out an application. My mother talking about you got a job. I looked at her like she was crazy. I got all these other siblings. Nobody has a job. Why am I the one to have a job? Well, that's because I was the one that was dependable. Okay. Nothing happened to anybody else like that. So I'm like, I went on an interview. I was, it's like your body knows when you don't want to do something. And I don't know why I didn't want to do it. I mean, I'm 16 years old. I'm enjoying reading books and stuff. I was not somebody that was like, I told you all, I'm not really like an extrovert for real, for real. I can deal with the crowds because I have 7 other siblings and I can adapt to situations. But for as like purposely going and seek stuff out, not really. And yeah, so when she was telling me I had a job, it was like on the day of the interview. I woke up, got dressed, and I'm telling you, I was sick as a dog. I felt like I was going to vomit at any minute. So my mom wasn't home and I was going to have to, I don't know if I was driving my uncle's car or if I was going to I think I was driving my uncle's car because I remember I wore a dress just to be pretty. I had a lot of dresses at 16 because I was in church all the time. So I know I was sick as a dog. I was so sick, I went back and got in the bed. Okay. Didn't even go on the interview. My mom come home from work and she goes, "How did the interview go?" I said, "I didn't go." "You what?" And she went off. And she said, "What you mean you didn't go?" I said, "I was sick and I didn't go." My mom got my butt up. I put those clothes right back on. She took me to that job interview. I'm late as all get out, like 2-3 hours late. Okay. And it's at White Castle restaurant. Now, back then, White Castle was picky. They're picky about who they hire. They don't just hire anybody. And the reason why they're picky is because they always pay over minimum wage. And you also were in a pension plan, which the other restaurants did not do. I don't know what they do now, but that's what they did in when I was 16. So I went in there because I'm mad now. I'm mad because now I gotta go in here and be embarrassed and go show up for an interview 2 and 3 hours later because my mother's outside. And there is no way you can get around not going into the place and not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because she's watching from the car. So I go in there and I'm trying to be like, "Hi," I'm like, "My name is Teajuana Mahone. And I was supposed to be here 2 or 3 hours ago. I was sick. Do you all still want to interview me?" And I was praying to God they said no. And she goes, "Sure, come on in." I'm like, oh my God. uh, that is too funny. Oops, I got a small pen that time. Hey, June Hanson. And Sherry says, "Amen about that. I agree about the retirement." Yes. I have to find a new person to do my quilting. The woman who does mine has gotten sick and she isn't doing extras anymore. Please say a prayer for Linda. She is wonderful at quilting. So sorry about that, Darcy. Oh my gosh. I'm making flying geese units for a pattern that I'm not disclosing right now. Just because I don't want people to jump ahead of me. Because I'm doing it as a sewing chat. And then somebody else will go do it and have it done in a day. And I'm just taking my little time with it because I have to find something to sew. Anyway. So people are sending their prayers. Old school parenting. That's why we have better work ethics and strong will. And I do have to say that working at White Castle as a job, White Castle didn't play. They weren't like, you see how these folks are in these restaurants now. White Castle didn't play that. I don't know what they play now, but White Castle owned all of their businesses. They weren't independently owned, and I don't know if that's still true now or not. But they had a work ethic. You learned how to clean. You learned how to report on time. I never had a problem showing up late anywhere other than to my interview. But I worked there for 3.5 years while I was even my first year of college. I had another full-time job, and you know why I kept working with them? Because they had the pension plan. When I quit that job for somebody that was part-time, I would call in because as you get older, and I was having stuff going on at school because now I'm in college and I'm working full-time, and then it'd be an occasion here and there where I had to have a study group. So then it was times where I couldn't even make the schedule, and they knew that I was in school. Whoops. And so they would work with me on that. So yeah, I kept it because every year you got a bonus. Every year you got a bonus, depending on what the profit margin was and how many hours you worked. And then every year money got added into your pension plan. Now, for me being part-time for 3.5 years, 2 of those years I worked up till I was 18 and went to college. I worked, say, 20 hours because I had a work study permit, no more than 20 hours a week. And then when I went to college, I decreased those hours. Some weeks I wasn't even going in at all. But when I left, I still had about $750, something like that, in the pension plan. And this was a long time ago, and that at the time was a lot of money. And I didn't put a dime of that in there. So, just from being part-time, I can imagine what the full-time people got. Because I wasn't even going in. I was just biding time. And then if somebody called in, they knew I was a night person, that I could work their night shifts. They called me at night, and then night shift paid a higher premium. So yeah, it's like, okay, I go in and work. No problem whatsoever. Deborah said, oh, wait a minute. Paula says, White Castle was my first and second job. I was 17 years old. First job was volunteer. Oh, her second job. Okay, her first job, but it really was the second one because she volunteered. Okay. So that's pretty cool. I'll tell everybody, if I had to work at one, I guess being at White Castle was a good thing. But my aunt had already prepared me for White Castle's foolishness, because she cleaned up office buildings in the evening. And honey, you should have saw us when we knew it was time for her to come around and try to get some kids to go with her to help her clean up these buildings. And we all trying to hide, and then she finally realized we hide, and so now she riding around the neighborhood trying to hunt us down. But when I did go with her, You know, she was real strict, and that's why nobody wanted to go with her. But as a kid, you don't understand what's going on. And like, we would empty somebody's trash can, and say we put the trash can back, and it might have been tilted at a little angle or something. And she go, however you pick that trash can up, that's how you put that trash can back. And she knew how everybody's trash can was sitting in their office. So you couldn't say, well, it was sitting this way. I did. You know, you couldn't pull that stunt. She already knew because she had been cleaning that office for a long time. And then when I got older and I actually had my own office and my trash can was getting emptied, I had our regular housekeeper that did it right, and everybody else that when she was off on vacation or whatever, they did it wrong. And I fully understand why you put somebody's trash can exactly back where you got it, because people can trip over those type things. If they're expecting it to be in a particular spot and you've moved it over 2 inches, it makes a difference if it's right by the doorway, which is where I put my trash can, because it kept housekeeper from having to, like, they did cleaning a particular thing certain days, and then every day they emptied the trash. So some days they didn't have to come into my office, and if she didn't have to come into my office, I just put my trash can by my desk right at the door. So she could just come to my door, get the trash can, and she doesn't have to come all the way into the office to get the trash can. That's why I set it there. But if you put that trash can back in the wrong spot, somebody could trip over that trash can. But she always put that trash can back where it was. So, yeah, I do understand. I was taught work ethics at an early age. I was just sick on the interview day. Oh, and I was embarrassed to show up late because I had never shown up late anywhere in my life, and to get sick on the interview day. And I only had 1 day notice in the first place. So it wasn't like I had time to, get prepared for an interview. So they're both going to be 65 when he retires. Interesting, all the spams I get. Girl, I get so much spam. I'm sick of it. Kim is saying good night. Good night, Kim. Thank you so much. Lena Dean is here. Says, good evening, Miss TNT Quilters. Just getting on. Yes. Welcome, welcome. Dorsey says she also loved working third shift. Yeah, I would work either 7:30 to 4, I think, 4 a.m. or 10 to 6 a.m. Depends on which one they needed. I didn't mind it at all. That was, back in the day. I wouldn't do that crap now. Well, now I don't know if they have the restaurant open. It used to be open 24 hours. I don't know if those doors are open 24 hours anymore. Like I said, I don't know anything about White Castle right now. Ever since COVID, I don't eat out as much as I used to. Okay, we need to make this needle in a down position. You are getting on my nerves. I started working as a babysitter at 12. By the time I was on summer break, Joanne Fabrics became my favorite. I babysat like family. I don't think they paid me. But I was the store runner for the elderly. So they would pay me something extra for going to the store and getting their items and stuff. My mom had me working at 15 and a half at Dairy Queen down the street from the house. Right. And I had to go a good little distance. Like I said, my brother actually dated this girl, my second oldest brother. And she was a supervisor there. And so I guess between the two of them, they don't got together and decided that I can, I would be good to have a job. Out of all how many? 5 of my previous siblings. I was the lucky one, you know, the dependable one, the responsible one, you know. Yeah, so I got the job. I don't know why my needle isn't going down. Hmm. That's weird. I've got my needle in the down position, but it's not staying down. I don't know what's up with that. I'm gonna have to figure that out. It was doing it before because I don't have my needle sticking up in the air. $97D. What is this? 50% of speed. I have no idea. Scissors. That. I have no idea. Let me hand do this just to make sure I didn't change anything. It shouldn't let me knowing that I have my straight stitch plate on, but I'd like to make sure anyway. Um, and Sandy says, yes, Bernie is humming up very sweetly. Yeah, really nice. I even put some more oil on here because it'd been sitting for 2 days. Because I didn't even pull it out the case, but I don't know why this needle up and down thing is not working right now. I probably need to cut it off and cut it back on, and I don't have time for that. So it looks like we're about to sew all of these together. I'm going to cut this. It's getting, well, no, I have 3 that I already sewed. They're just on the tail end before they get too much and be hanging off my desk here. Yeah, she sounds really good. The stitching is really good. Really good stitching. He gave me a little sample stitch out. I don't ever use the decorative stitches, but they always do a few sample stitch out so they can see how your stitches look. But I need to do some machine embroidery with this thing. It's just makes me want to throw up when I can just do it so much faster on my baby lock over here. All the extra steps I got to go through on this Bernina. That's the thing right there. I can just cut this thing on over here and start stitching. All right, so these are ready to be cut apart. And I will just sit these right here for now. These need the other side. So T, looks like your sewing machine is sewing very well back home. Yeah. Yep, I'm glad he didn't have keep it a week. But even a week, I've had my machine in the shop longer than that. So I'm like, okay, if he got time to drive, pick up machines and drop them off, okay, who am I? And I do know him. It's not like it's a stranger I'm just handing, this amount of money to. He's the one that worked on the machines. It's just that the shop he was at has closed. He is going to work in another shop, but he's not set up yet. So got to do what you got to do. So instead of them paying him a salary, he's making all the money, which is good. Good for him. That's what you're supposed to do. He might get to the only problem is, in order to be a Bernina service, to continue with your license and be able to get parts, is that you have to be in a shop. They won't sell you parts unless it's ordered through a shop. So that's the problem. So he does have to hook up with a shop. At 16, I work as a nurse aide in nursing home. What are you working on? I'm making flying geese. I'm working on a particular pattern, but I'm not disclosing it at this point until I get closer to getting it completed. Since I'm doing it as a sewing chat, and that's because people will get it done and then go post it into the group or something. I don't want that. So I'm trying to get it done. I want to do my project first. It's actually in a magazine, so it's not my pattern, so I can't give you sizes. But I'm making flying geese in 2 different sizes. I don't have any I can show you yet. Well, I don't have any of the big ones I can show, but I do have some small ones here. These here. So, and they're all different African print. I just made one of each print. And then on my large ones, I use strings. I actually sewed some strings together. And I didn't do what they said in the magazine because I'm trying to save my fabric. I don't have that many scraps left. And so when you make flying geese this way with strings that are straight, you are going to have your strings going in both directions. So I'm trying to use that to my advantage as well. So I will be laying out almost the entire quilt before I sew anything together, just to make sure my flying geese are going the right directions. I'm going to try to make them all so that my string pieces, all the units are in the quilt facing the same direction, either horizontal or all vertical. It just depends on which way it falls. Darcy says her first real job was at a daycare and she loved it. Sherry says, I am at Mod Pizza now with my brother. That's funny. She's having pizza. I had Aldi's pizza. My husband picked up. Melissa saying, Remo, I couldn't work at a fabric store. It would cost me more than my paycheck. Exactly. I wouldn't take any money home if I worked at a fabric place, because you get to see all the stuff on sale. Plus, you get an employee discount. White Castle in Nashville was excellent in service and clean. You never seen such a clean restaurant. And that's the thing about White Castle. They were always clean. You know why? Every 4 hours, they clean that inside and outside. So the shake machine got cleaned every day. I bet you the little softest the little snow truck, we had a snow cone truck that would come through the neighborhood that we were buying ice cream from as a kid. And when I started working at White House and realized what it took to clean that machine, I know them people didn't clean that machine. So yeah, that place got spick and span from top to bottom. every 4 hours, everything in there got wiped down. Because they were open 24 hours. And fryers, all of that stuff. Grease got drained. They changed it every so many hours. They had like a chart and you wrote it on there. So you would know when it was your turn to put you just cleaning the grease, or you're either recycling that grease to where it needs to go and putting in new grease. But we had charts for everything, and you didn't have to talk to people because it was all right there for you to see what you needed to do if that was your station. So I agree. White Castle, in my opinion, is the cleanest restaurant. You could drop a hamburger almost on the floor and eat it. Now, I'm not recommending that, but that's how clean that place is. Like, you know how if you are packaging something and then it goes to fall, but you catch it? White Castle didn't play that. Even if you caught it, it didn't hit the floor. It went into waste. They didn't play with people's food at all. If you want to make sure you had good food, White Castle was it. You may not like it, but they were the cleanest fast food restaurant, in my opinion. So, but I used to stink something awful and didn't even know it. I couldn't smell it when I was working. That is, them fried onions are just funky. Even when I got to the point where I only worked the register, them onions still was on my clothes when I went home. That's a funky smell. Tom talking about Joe Cormel. Tell your husband T is sending her machine too. Not for mine was gone just 2 days. I don't know anybody doing 2 days. I just got to figure out. I think it wasn't set when I cut it on, and I'm wondering if it's just keeping the memory from when I cut it on. But this Bernina goes through a whole rebooting cycle. I don't have time for that. I'm trying to sew. When I get my pieces sewed, we can play with it after that. And he put a new needle threader on here. Nice. So he gave me a little check sheet of everything that he did to both machines. And I may have and he also updated my software, so I may have to go into the software and change something. I don't know, but we'll see. All right, I still got lots of these things, don't I? I still got 3 back there. We'll do these, however many it is. So who's watching Lifetime Christmas movies? I used to watch them all the time, but I haven't in a few years now. I used to watch them all the time. Melissa, Handcuffs of Paducah has some K-Facet fabrics on clearance, $7.99. That's cute. That's a good price. Hey, sis and everyone, time got away from me. I can understand. I babysat for 3 different families. Diane T talked about babysitting. I used to do this for a woman every now and then, but she drank all the money and couldn't pay me. Oh my gosh. I ain't gonna be playing with your kids for free, even if I like them. Lena says, I babysat neighbor children and they paid me $10. I was rich. Right. That was a lot of money. You could buy penny candy. Think about that. We had a store that sold cookies. You could go buy a cookie for a penny. And my brother-in-law, he say, you know, that piece of candy you paid that penny for, it was 5 times thicker than that when I was a kid. Yeah. If my mom gave us a quarter, talking about split the quarter, you should have saw us buying a piece of bubble gum and splitting it in half. We weren't messing around, okay? Buy a piece of bubble gum and we cut that joker in half. You used to could ride the bus for a quarter. And my mom would give us bus money. And we said, we ain't putting our money in that bus. We used to walk everywhere. She gave us money. Like, I'm not putting my quarter in there. No way. Only time I put the money in there is when I had to go downtown. Because that was a good little chunk. That was downtown. But other than that, I walked. We had another shopping center that was close to us. We had a grocery store that was up this big hill that it would have been nice to catch the bus up and down. But we was like, we're going to walk this. Not getting my money. We had 2 smaller grocery stores right around the corner from our house. They were on opposing corners. So okay. I guess I took that one off. Did just the one and didn't do the others. Because that's what I did. Oh, I did all of them. I'm fast. Look at God. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I had sold them all, but I did. All right. These are getting ready to be cut apart. I'll cut just one apart here because I'm actually going to rotary cut these apart, but I'll do one with scissors right here. Do I have a rotary cutter? Yeah, I have a rotary cutter right there. I have a mat right here. I can cut one at least. I don't like working in this space with bigger pieces because I don't have much room. All right, just ran out of bobbin. Just like abruptly stop. You do not air sew with the Bernina 770. That is for sure. Break this thread. All right. And I am not gonna clean it because it just got clean. Just come from the clean. It can't be any cleaner than this. And look how much thread is left when it stops. Not very much. No more than 4 inches. Hey, Stephanie. She says, hey, T and everyone. Welcome, Stephanie. T. Robert says, I'm here. Busy day, guild meeting. Then presentation for Petaway of Geese Ben. Then a sew along. So that's nice. All quilting related. That's pretty cool. I love days like that. I have something quilt related every 2nd through 4th Saturday of the month. So those dates are already taken. And then I have other stuff I need to be doing sometimes, but I still do the quilt stuff anyway. I try to. It's very seldom that I cancel. All right. thank you, Darcy, reminding people to hit the thumbs up button. Appreciate that. 115 watching. Take the time to subscribe. We have so much fun Wednesdays and Saturdays, and third Saturday afternoons. We meet with T and Kevin, Comedy Central. Yep, they are huge. I think these are the largest flying geese I've ever made, I think. They are huge. My next quilt, I'm going to be making very large half square triangles. I wanted to do it first because I want to cut kits with it, but it's like, I don't feel like cutting kits. I can't cut kits because I got so much long arming I'm doing that I can't cut kits. So I'm working on that custom quilt. I was trying to have it off by tomorrow, but I still got a good chunk to go. But I'm getting there. I've done quite a bit, but you know, it just takes time. So I'm getting close though. We got 2 more seams and all my flying geese are gone. I just got to press, cut, and press. All right, this one here. All right, since this is the last one, I'll go ahead and cut that off. I love chain piecing. Jason says, I remember eating at White Castle's back in the day when you ate in the restaurant you used to get your sliders on plates. Yep. And it wasn't like it was weird too because every restaurant had the older crowd that hung out in the restaurant all the time. And even White Castle's had that, but they would always come in and buy coffee. They might buy coffee and a donut in the mornings. And then they would just sit there, shoot the breeze until about noon. And then they all go their different little ways. They would buy coffee continuously that whole time that they were there. Like I got to know them by name. But yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna press this with my wood iron. It's not gonna be as flat as the other side, but you can see what I mean about my geese are going in different directions. My strips. So this one here, the strips are going horizontal, and this one doesn't have a whole lot of pieces. This is a piece. It's a piece of salvage on the bottom. It's actually 3 pieces, but it looks like 2. And then on this other piece that I just cut off of it, they're going up and down. And I did leave the salvages on as well. I kind of like that for me. I could have cut those off or ignored them as I was piecing. But I thought, you know, y'all know I love text. I don't care if it's readable text or what the text is saying, long as it's not something offensive. So I left my text. I left the salvage in. Wherever the text fell is where it stayed. This is a long ruler. It's 18 inches long. Let's use something that's 12, a little bit shorter. I need at least an 8 to cut these things. They so big. And it's funny because I'm cutting over all these seams. And so I'm just going to keep these separated. because I'm going to put these together so that they're all going the same direction. That's my plan. I'm hoping it works. We shall see. My husband can eat White Castles by the case. Oh my gosh. I like them, but I was never able to eat a whole lot. I would always eat like 2 or 3 at the most. I don't eat a lot of burger. I don't eat a whole lot of meat. I like meat. I eat meat, but like one piece of chicken leg or something like that, that's enough for me. And then I'm the person that like all the sides. Thanks, Diane. Um um Nice. 2 days is a quick turnaround, right? I was surprised he said a week, and a week is a quick turnaround for somebody that's picking up your stuff. I guess I will sit here and trim these apart. Time is it? 9:18. I got time. I want to turn them this way though, so that they're easier to trim. Don't go moving. What are you doing? We just want to cut the center. So I'm making my 2 stacks for how the seams are going to be facing. I watch Lifetime and Hallmark Christmas movies. That's Deborah Holloway. I used to watch them all the time. I was looking at one today. Bernina says Lifetime and Hallmark. Carissa Reninger, hey girl. She says she watch Christmas movies on YouTube. You can get them all from Hallmark and Lifetime. So that's cool. Liz, watch both of them. I used to work midnight. White Castle was the only thing open at 3 a.m. on Vandervanner. Yeah, and I never worked down there, but I used to work when I was in work study program, and I worked at Ralston Perina, and I used to go there every now and then to get something on Vandervander. Every now and then, because it was cheap. um Watching BritBox. That's from Remo. Hello from Pepper Bickman. So hello to you. Welcome to the channel. Appreciate you popping something in the comments. Welcome, welcome, welcome. When my husband eats White Castle, he sleeps in his car. Oh, in his chair in the living room. Whatever. I always watch the Charlie Brown specials. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all those specials. Okay. And I used to watch all of those too. You know, I just don't know why I'm not watching any of that stuff anymore. I guess like sewing has taken over my whole life, and I have no TV where my long arm is. I guess I could do YouTube, but you know, having to skip the ads and stuff becomes annoying when I'm trying to do long arming. It's annoying. I have to stop and put my hand on a remote to skip it when I don't want to, because it's not, if they just gave us like 6 seconds, 10-second ads, I probably would be okay, but YouTube will give you a 5-minute ad. It's like, I don't want a 5-minute ad. Lena loves the Christmas movies. One with Natalie Wood on 34th Street in New York. They make you feel good and fill you with Christmas cheer. Yeah. The sad thing is, overall, people are not behaving very nice in this world, sadly. So it's nice to get on there and see something with happy endings. Some people don't like them because they all end in happy endings. It's like having romance novels and stuff like that. So some people don't like them. But I did. I used to religiously watch all the Christmas specials. I actually used to go to Christmas specials. Haven't been to one in a long time. Like at the Fox, stuff like that. I used to go all the time. The Christmas Carol. Okay. That one moved a little bit, but the seam allowance doesn't matter. It's already been sewed. All right. Close you up before I kill myself. CJR Creations reminding you all to hit the thumbs up. Sherry says, what is the simplest quilt to make for a beginner? Just squares. You can make like a checkerboard pattern with squares. You can make it with 2 different fabrics. You can make it where the rows are going diagonally through the quilt. That to me is the easiest quilt to make, and you can use any size square you like. The bigger the square, the less of them you have to cut. You can use 5-inch squares. You can use 10-inch squares. Do whatever you like. That's the easiest. Well, one of the easiest. It's some on the same level as that, but just squares is good. You could even start with a panel and just put borders on it. That's easy too. I got so many thick seams with these African prints. I have to go through some of them twice. Got 3 more, I think, to trim. So it goes pretty fast. Oops, got both of them. Almost finished here. Last one. All right, put this ruler back. This other ruler goes in another room. This one, I brought it in here because it was long. June says it's the same thing all the time, so I don't watch the Christmas shows either. And that's what some people say, that they, it's just the same thing over and over. So I guess this one, it has a piece of that metallic. It must have caught and it didn't press this one flat on the other side, but thank goodness where I needed it to be flat, it was. I didn't even notice it when I was pressing. So all we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and continue to use my wood thing. And then when I get to the ironing surface, all I got to do is just lift the iron in place, lift the iron in place. I don't have to do any ironing because my seam's already folded over for me. I just need it nice and flat. All right. I like the salvage on my fabric. It's different. Yeah. I figure if they're making salvage quilts, this is probably the only time I use the salvage is on these African prints. But I feel like just from the nature of it being African prints, I feel like it would be expected and accepted. but I don't see too many people doing it. So I used it in my Take 5, and now I'm using it here. So I'm going to use the salvage. I'm using all my fabric. Less in the trash. So, and some of them I got 2 salvages together. Good night, Deborah. Thank you so much, Deborah Holloway, for popping in. Appreciate that. I don't know how long ago that's been because I haven't like rolled this screen down. Let me see where the bottom is. Because y'all can talk on here. Love me some Hallmark Christmas movies. Just have the Kleenex box close by. That's Tom. 117 people watching, only 81 thumbs up from Lena. Please hit the thumbs up button, guys, on your way out, please. T, did you say you would share the pattern after you post your finished quilt? I like the large blocks. No, it's well, I'll share the where the pattern is. I will share the pattern information. It's not something that I sell. I will share it when I'm done. When I get a piece, I will not be sharing any measurements, is what I said, because it's actually a pattern, and I don't want to give out somebody's pattern sizes. But right now I'm just making flying geese in 2 different sizes, and then this is all the African print that I'm using right now. I probably will add, I don't know how I'm gonna add a border. It may touch some of the other African prints because I'm out of this fabric that I use for the background unless I go buy some more. Remember when I ordered from Whittles Fabric and I ordered all of those grunge fabrics? They were dirt cheap. They had a sale. And then I told y'all, and y'all went over there and bought it. Well, grunge over there now, it wasn't even regular $10. And this was after COVID. Now her grunge is $10 a yard. And I think we were getting it like $8. And then they had a sale. It was even cheaper than $8. I have to look in my emails. I have to search her store. But I know we didn't pay $10, but she ain't gonna do that again. But yeah, so these were some of my cheaper grunge, and I had bought like 3 yards of any color she had in stock. I bought 3 yards of. So I was just I needed like 4 or 4.5 yards. I can't remember what the requirements were, but I knew I was making my blocks different, and I just had enough. I got some scraps left over, but not enough to do a border. So I need a spacer border. So I may either order just a yard or go to my local store, because by the time I order just 1 yard and pay shipping, I could go to the my local Jackman's or something and go get it and have it right now, and just put a little spacer border, and then add, just pick one of my fabrics. I got plenty of fabrics. Just pick one and put a border on this quilt, because this quilt doesn't have a border. I keep saying I'm gonna make smaller quilts, but that never happens. I'm just talking. Oh, so you don't have to pick off the onions, honey. If you go to White Castle and tell them that you want 6 of or whatever number, you can tell them without onions, and they'll scrape them off as they come off the grill when they're hot off the grill before they put the cheese on. Or if you don't get cheese, but when they're hot off the grill, it's easier for the onions to be slid off. They're not going to get every piece of onion off, but they will get the majority of the onions off. They'll take them off, and it's free of charge, no extra charge. And it's quick because it's a method to the madness. You just got to tell them. Jason's, I'm just trimming up all of these half square triangles I was sewing earlier today. That was cool. You should have that size AccuQuilt die. Whatever size you making, you needed that many. I'd have bought a die. Then you don't have to trim up square up anything. I wish I had a die this size, but I didn't. And I didn't want to make half square triangles or flip corners because I would have all that waste from snowballing. Because that's what the pattern did. They snowballed. And I'm like, okay, then I didn't have extra fabric already. So I was trying to save my fabric. I didn't have fabric to waste. T, can you accept another quilt top to quilt? When if you don't need it soon, email me and let me know when you need it by, and I can tell you. My quilter, my 96, I think she is. I'm not sure. I've been saying she's 98. I think she's 96. She has. I have a couple of things I got to do for her. She's trying to get me to make chair pads. She's trying to get me to. What was the other thing? Chair pad, a jacket. It's like I don't have time to do that before Christmas. I'm trying to work on my Christmas stuff, and then Christmas is at my house too, so I got to put everything up on my dining table. I got to get all that stuff put up. That's where I'm sewing with the FOF and the brother, and I got to make 2 more bags that are Christmas gifts. The other bags are personal, so I'm not worried about those right now. But I got at least 2 more bags I need to make. So I got some things I need to do before Christmas. So just email me and tell me what it is that you need and when you need it, and then I can decide from there. I got to make her a pillow. That's what I promised to make her, was a pillow. I will make her a pillow. I can't make all these other promises. She asked me first, would you quilt some fabric for a jacket? I go, sure. Now she said, would you quilt some fabric for me? And I said, sure. Just some fabric? I said, sure. She says, and make me a jacket? And I'm like, I can easily quilt it. Go get somebody else to make the jacket, okay? And she will pay me whatever I ask. But it's like, if I'm not wanting to do it, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know. I don't want to make somebody else a jacket when I might want one for myself, you know? Want my own jacket. Then I'd be jealous. Liz said that's the most annoying thing is about watching the TV commercials. Some people are pretty blank. I watch them all year long. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Sue Lambert says, hello from Washington. Watched you this afternoon while I was cutting and sewing on borders. So welcome back, Sue. Thank you so much for popping in a comment. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know why Kevin and I can't behave. He refused to give the disclaimer. You know, I normally give the disclaimer when I do the intro. He was like, we're gonna behave. I'm like, yeah, right. Right. We don't behave. Hey, 10 everyone. Love the Walton's Thanksgiving and Christmas special. That's from the Quilting Lady Fabric and Quilting Plate store. I used to watch the Waltons, and I was really following it for a while, but it's so funny how I can't remember all the stuff anymore. Isn't that crazy? I used to watch the Osmonds and all their specials, but I can't even hardly remember stuff anymore. It's been too long. As they say, out of sight, out of mind. Now they just ready to be given a press with a heated iron. I could technically sew these together, but I'm not. So I'm going to put these right here. And then I'm going to start sewing these. I can sew these together. I really enjoy the Christmas movies. They have a spiritual meaning to the human soul. My husband and I record some stuff and just watch it the next day. The Lord says, T, will you open and show one of the flying geese that you're cutting so I can see how it comes out? I already did that. They're already done. But you have some where the seams are going horizontal, as in this one, and then others, your seams will be vertical. Because I just use straight strings, like they're vertical here. So you have to decide which way you want your strings to go. So I have to work on that. These here, I just made flying geese where they were just one piece of fabric, even though that looks like it's more than one fabric. It's just one piece of fabric. So some of them are strings and some of them are just plain pieces of fabric. And this is how the fabric, the pattern did it as well. Then you can fly through the commercials when you record. Anita B is here saying, hello from New Mexico. How do you sew fabric ties for aprons, drawstring bags, and other projects? I'm one of those people, I don't flip them unless, like I did those bags for the, for So Hope. And I did it according to the pattern because I didn't want them to reject the project pieces. But when I'm doing straps, I kind of just personally like folding, taking something that's, say if you needed 1 inch finish, then I will take a 4-inch piece of fabric, fold in the middle so I can find where half is at 2 inches, and then I fold each opposite side into that line, and then I fold it over again. But before I close it up, I put 1 layer of some kind of durable stabilizer in there, something that's going to make it padded, and then I stitch on the ends. Before I close the ends, I'll fold in the ends, fold the ends up, and then I'll put a piece of 1 inch or like 7/8 of an inch, because I make it just a little bit smaller. Insert that in before I close it all up completely. After I pressed everything, then I open it back up, put 1 strip of interfacing. I will use something like fusible fleece, Decoville light, something that's going to keep it sturdy and give it some strength other than just the 4 pieces of fabric. And then when I close all of those raw edges up, I stitch the bottom edges, stitch the bottom edge all the way down the long edge, all the way to the other bottom edge, and then I even go back down the fold. And then I stitch more lines, say like another 5 lines that I stitch on the long sides. So I stitch a lot of lines. I personally think that the extra stitching in your handles make it stronger than just having a loose handle. But that's how I do. Apron ties, you wouldn't have to do it for the aprons. You could still fold it in, but most aprons have a 45-degree angle on the edge. So a sew and flip might work well with that, because on an apron tie, it's not like you're going to be picking up any weight. But if it's, you're saying on drawstring bags or other projects or any other tote bags, I do the heavy duty handles. The only time I would do a sew around and leave a hole for turning is on a drawstring apron. And you don't have to put anything in there because it's just going to be ties and you don't want it stiff. That's a good question. Sherry says, I have a panel. Right. Picked up some fabric at Jackman's a couple weeks ago to catch that sale. And thanks for the heads up on that sale. Yes. So she made it. Carissa says, I've always said the same dang thing to you. It's either a baby quilt or a big quilt for me. Right. Darcy, I looked at the Jackmans and they don't sell fabric online, which is a bummer. That's probably true. However, if you call them and say, I was watching Teaquilts and I saw that you all have such and such on sale, or she bought this off the clearance table. If you take a photo screenshot of it, I've had people that have told me that Jackman's has sent them their fabric, especially when I say I got something off the clearance tables. Now with the fat quarters, you just have to trust. Say, okay, your fat quarters, or got them on sale for $1.50. Can you just send me 50 fat quarters? I don't care what colors they are. Can you just make them bright? And just, you can't tell somebody what 50 fat quarters you want. And I didn't show you all that stuff because they're actually gifts. So that stuff I did not show you all. But I did. I bought maybe about 130, I don't know, 120 something, because I bought some for my quilt guild to give out as gifts for the optional blocks. And then I also purchased some for me. And I think I purchased some for retreat. I can't remember what I did. Or a retreat project. So it's the same. It's for retreat. I have never been to Jackman's website, so I don't even know what's on their website. Isn't that terrible? I've never been. Craft with Love says they are having, I don't know who is they. Is it Jackman's or is it Teaquilts having 25 and 50% off of their dyes? I don't know who she's saying is having that. Just made me a cup of Starbucks. That's Remo. T, can you make a quilted jacket? And Kevin the Quilter, can you make that quilted vest pattern? Sure, we can do everything, Jason. Good night, Delia. Thank you so much for coming in. I don't know if I ever welcomed her. I can't remember. But thank you so much for being here. Good night, Vivian. We got like a few more minutes. Denise Sopatch 33 is saying good night as well. Darcy says, I got to get going. Remind everyone to give Tia a thumbs up. I also want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and bless you all. So thank you, Darcy. Appreciate that. And Kevin pops back in. Really, Jason? Good night, C Joy. Yeah, so on these, see, now this is not an African print, but I added in this Black Panther piece. I had a Marvel piece I started to add in, but I didn't. I can't remember if I added in another piece or not, but I couldn't resist adding in a piece of Black Panther. So I think all the rest of them are African, true African Ankaras per se. Yeah. But that was too pretty. I had to put it in. So, I'm just basically sewing, I think, 5 of these together. Okay, don't mess with me. I want to make sure I get this seam right, so I go right through that point. And I didn't square any of these up. I'm just sewing them together. These were, these small ones were die cut. Let's see. Kevin and Jason are going at it. I'm laughing at Betsy. She hit me up both ways. I'm looking at these notifications now. I don't normally see those because this phone don't get them. And I did put my watch on. I felt so naked today. I left my watch at home, forgot to put it on after I got dressed. Why are you doing that now all of a sudden? You weren't doing that before. Things want to rattle. Good night, Lena. I'm laughing at Kevin talking about the pattern didn't come in his size. Yo, how about that dashiki? And now it's a we can modify the pattern. Why don't you then just make it, Jason? Make all of us a quilted jacket. We even raffle one off to the Teaquilters. The dashiki is waiting to be used in your booth, Miss T. Yeah, right. You didn't get it. I actually have dashiki. I plan to make one. But it's it's cut off of a yard of fabric, so I'm gonna probably have to add something to it. Ah, okay, I just lost my ruler. It went flying over on the other side. It's all good. I'll get it later. How do you know, Miss T? Going through my closets again, laughing out loud. You didn't buy it because if you'd have bought it, you'd have sent me a picture. You would have been excited. I'm just trying to mix up the colors. Like right up underneath was another green one, and I got green in this one. So I'm just trying to mix up the colors a little bit. Like I said, each one of these fabrics are different. So I probably need 6 of these things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put that up. Let's see. Lay these out before I get through. I'm getting close to the bottom. Just want to make sure I mix them up really good. You can go there. You can go there. You can go here. Be bright. Put you over here. All right. Just want to make sure I mix them up. You have me in here. Jason talking about. Now you're gonna have me up in here in a sweatshop making quilted jackets. That's right. That's what I do. I open up sweatshops. I'm good at that. I assist. I do the cutting or something. Just so, Jason, so. And Remo talking about, I have a jacket you can make. I take a 48 short, Jason. Thanks in advance. That's from Melissa, so you don't forget. Yeah, so I'm just sewing these into pairs. I think. I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, I think I need 6 of these. Trying to make sure I'm not sewing too many pairs together. Well, if I do, there is a seam ripper, that thing that was invented to assist us with unsewing. But I think I'm right. Have to think about it. I had to think about how many of these I made. All right. I wonder if there's a Studio 182 for that would make it easy. Of course. I got 7 different tools that you can use to assist you with that. 7. It's only 7. And remember, I'm going to give you a discount. So you're going to save money and time. All right. So let's count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now I'm sewing these into pairs. My twosies into foursies. My twosies into foursies. It's time for me to take that nap. It's time for me to go to bed. I wanted to do some more long arm quilting because otherwise I don't know if I'm going to finish the quilt tomorrow. I haven't done any sewing today because I haven't been home. But I was up late. Well, I was up early. Not late, early. So just want to make sure I mix the colors up. That's all. And these, I did not plan any of these colors. They're more my darker prints, but every once in a while I have a pink or orange. But mostly these are my darker prints, but I still like it just because they're African prints. So, and then I'm just going to pull all those fabrics I bought that I said, oh, this will make a nice border. That's what I'm going to do. Put a border on here. I'm not going to piece it. I'm going to use some of this fabric I got up in here. That's a yellow. See if we can find something else. This one's green. That one's that. And this one is that. So we'll use this one. Just want to mix them up. And I got to take that first one off. So the faster I get done with this, the faster I can share the pattern. So we're almost done. Like I said, the rest of this for this pattern is just background. I have no more piecing per se of blocks or pieces. I'm done. I'm on the home stretch. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody that will not be here Wednesday. I do plan to do a live on Wednesday. So that's why I hadn't said it earlier. But just in case you miss it, happy Thanksgiving. And the last one. Right here. So next week we'll be putting this stuff together. I might do a block off. I might either do a block so I can see what it looks like off. I need to lay these all out too. That's the other thing. Because of how I got my strings going. All right, so now I just need to add one of these on. Doesn't matter where. Well, I want my Black Panther to be in the middle. So it does matter sometimes. I want the Black Panther in the middle. So you can add it to the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter. Just 5 flying geese in a row. Let's just open these up. 2, 3, 4. I got to take this one off. is 5. And then I can go ahead and assign these too, so I don't put all the brights together. You can have a green. Ta-da! You're pretty bright. You can get that. You have a pink, and you have a black, and you have a blue. All right, we're ready. I don't think the rest of these matter which position they're in. I'm just sewing them. I want that Black Panther to be in the middle of the flying geese. That's the only thing I wanted. And put this one on top because it's got black at the bottom. Right here. All right. We're getting there. Oh, I got drums in here. I love the drum fabrics. I love drum and eyes. I do not have eyes in this quilt. I can't believe it. I didn't even think about it. I have no eyes. That's because I didn't have any in scraps. This pink one at the top. And then I'll show you guys. It's just 5 flying geese in a row. This one at the top. And I actually got seconds left. Oh my goodness. So we're done. If I get a chance to come in here and make an extra block, I will. If not, that's okay too. If I make one of my blocks ahead of time, but we'll see. I got to have time to lay it out before we come back to sew next time. All right, so I just have the giant flying geese by themselves, and then this is what I've just been sewing, strips of these, and I'll go press all of these seams. I don't even know if it matters. I just sew everything, and then I worry about pressing it if it doesn't cross each other. So I have 6 of these. That's 3. 4. So none of these fabrics repeat. 5. And all of these were scraps. And 6. So now I got a lot to press. And let me pull this back over here so when I get ready to leave, it'll be on this side of the desk. Put this up. Let's see. What are you guys saying? Good night, Remo. She says, everyone, please be safe. See you on Wednesday. Hello, Kathy D's. Looks like I'm going to be up all night. Neighbors upstairs came home. Kids thumping up all the stairs and loud music playing. Fun, fun, fun. That's one of the reasons why I had to leave the apartments. I had one lady had kids. She asked us to babysit her kids because her boyfriend at the time didn't come home so she could go to work. And we had been so disgusted that we were about to move anyway. And I just said, yeah, because it was late. I was trying to go to sleep because I had to go to work. And she was saying that she would be back before I left to go to work. And I'm like, okay, if you're not, I'm going to be calling DFS on you. She's like, oh, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back. And she did come back, but I would have never left my child with a stranger, especially being having a spouse as well. You don't know who's a child molester. People are crazy when they're desperate. I figure out other things to do when I'm desperate. I don't go ask a stranger to babysit. That's why you always have time on your books at work. So when emergencies like that come up, you got some time. Everyone's eyes will be on that quilt, Miss T. That's Kevin. Yep. I'm just not going to reveal it yet because, like I said, I'm taking my time doing it, and the other people will just work on it. This is really one of those quilts you could probably do in a weekend, but I like to, I'm one of those people that I actually enjoy the piecing process. So I do like that. As long as I got different fabric to work with, I'm okay with uh the process. I just can't do the same piece of fabric over and over and over and over. But long as I got different pieces of fabric, that's how come I got 30 different flying geese here. Because I was like, well, I got so many scraps here. I probably got enough to make them scrappy. And I was short too. And then I went through some strings, and some of my strings were really fat, and I cut them off of strings. So I ended up having way more than what I needed. I had cut one extra just in case, and then I kicked it back out. Thank you guys saying it's beautiful. Good night, Michelle the quilter. Good night, Joe Carmel. She says she made it home. Awesome. Have fun sewing. Can't wait to see what machine she gets or when she gets it. That's going to be so pretty, T. Thank you, Carissa. The law says no loud music after 10, so you have to call if it go on too long. Oh, she's saying that some laws, yeah. Depends on where you stay. Uh, like that says good night all. Best wishes for holidays to all. So good night as well. So I don't have anything else, guys. I'm glad I got further than I thought. I didn't think I was gonna get my 5 pieces of geese sewn together. So that's good. I'm ready to start making blocks when we come back next time. So I'll make one just to make sure all the measurements work, because I've already cut everything just in case. If something's off, I'll just be sewing scraps together to put it together, because I'm out of fabric unless I go, like I said, I could go to the store and get some. So if I go out, I can go buy maybe a yard just so I can float this top off the edge of the quilt before I put a border on it. So I might do that. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, okay. Yep. I'm hoping it'll be pretty. I have no idea what this is going to look like. I just said, you know what? I need a project for Saturday. I didn't want to sew any of my things I got up there. And I've been wanting to do some more stuff with African fabric. So if I start vending, I've got quilts to show people what to do, because I'm finding that people don't know how to use African fabrics. When I did the lecture at the Quilt Guild, I don't think there were any African Americans there. And but I had people that were interested in fabric. I had people that were asking questions about the fabric, people that had never have figured out how to use it. So me having some of those quilts in the lecture helped them. Some of them had fabric where they had traveled to Africa, had bought fabric and didn't know what to do with it, been holding on to it for 10, 15 years. So I just like having stuff so that I can show people what you do with this fabric if you are buying it. So, all righty. So we're gonna go ahead and end here. I don't see any more comments. And you all stay blessed, be safe, quilt out. See you all Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Good night, everybody. Good night, Ray.